What's up, Quarter Pounders? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Wave Potter, and today's a very special BAND-MAID reaction because this is the first piece of their acoustic online show that's available to the public, which, if you haven't already seen their full online acoustic Okiji, please go check it out. I'm going to put a link to it in the pinned comment. Highly recommend it because it really helps support them. That's what helps these bands keep going, helps them keep making music. I think it's up till March, and if you get the tickets, you can watch it until March. And I know what you're thinking.
The song's been out 4 days and everyone else has already reacted to it. What's taking you so long?
I know. I'm sorry about that, but we're here now. I had a lot of requests to get out and my week had already been planned out, so I'm sorry for the delay, but to make up for that, I'm making this a double reaction. First, I'm going to listen to the original song, and then I'm going to watch the acoustic version again and try to break it down, compare, just see what they changed for the acoustic version.
Break it down.
Alright, so this is from their 2019 album Conqueror, and it happens to be the song right before Blooming, which I've made a guitar and bass cover of, so. That was a really cool intro with those harmonics, and wow, I did not see that rock coming so hard. Dang. Konami's guitar work in this is crazy. Just like hammer-ons right up the do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. I wonder what those notes are. I think those are the notes. Just so walking up that B minor scale. Anyway, that sounds really cool. Oh man. Okay, if this song goes by their typical 3-act structure where it just gets more and more intense throughout, I can't even imagine what the second verse is going to be like, because this is already so intense. That drum pattern, the guitars with that cool panning, one guitar's doing riffs. Okay, I just gotta hear that again. But then Misa comes in halfway through. Oh man, I can't use the arrows. Love how Akane's beat, it drops the kick and snare for the third, like 1, 2, yeah, for the third count of the measure. The hi-hat is the only thing playing. That's just such a cool sound. And then the way that riff is playing in the left ear, but the other guitar is just accentuating the power chords. That's such a cool stereo play right there. There's so much happening just in this first verse. Misa comes in with that very exciting bass line, and I think there's even harmonies. Like, the harmony is very light and in the background, but it's such a layered verse, and yet it works so well without being messy. Oh, so good. Oh. Okay, I gotta hear that pre-chorus again. It was like such a cinematic feel with that bass drop right before the chorus, nothing else going. But then also how Akane just stops playing for a while and Misa's able to keep the rhythm. That was such a cool sound. I never thought it would sound so cool for Akane to stop playing, but when it comes down to it, that was her stylistic choice, her creative choice in that moment to make this song as cool as it could be. Sometimes taking one of the instruments out and letting everything else have the spotlight for that moment. You know, that happens thanks to the choice of the musician who wasn't playing in that part. Of course, I know Konami's kind of pulling the strings behind the compositional scenes here, but still, interesting how one musician can make the choice to let everyone else shine by not playing anything. It's pretty interesting. Okay, right here. Oh, the way that guitar has that rhythmic dun, 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 and then right from that last note, Misa slides up out of that. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, creating such a cool feel, such a cool soundscape, that moving feel. I love this pre-chorus. It's such an EDM thing to do, to have that kick drum build-up. Doon, 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 you know? It reminds me of dubstep or EDM, which was huge when I was a teenager. Oh, that riff is back. All right, I'm ready for verse 2. What the heck? Holy crap! Just like I suspected and expected, the second verse, the second time around, was even more intricate than the first time. And holy buckets! I gotta hear that again to even remember everything that happened, because it was so layered, so textured. Oh, first of all, it starts with that little lick, and then the guitar is wow, wow, wow. Kind of like a siren sound, but like really expressive with the bends. It's got the same drum pattern as before for a little while, but the guitars are changed up in such a cool way. Okay, yeah, these guitars must be completely different than the first verse, because one of them's doing a lot of bending, the other one's doing that rhythmic playing. Sounds like dyad chords, just thick, punchy. Okay, I gotta hear the first verse again, just to make sure. Yeah, okay, so it is completely different composition, but it follows the same kind of creating a stereo pan between the two guitars and having them play off of each other. So the sound is so moving, you know, between the two ears. It's really like, it's got a nice flow to it. This whole song has like that cinematic feel where you can kind of picture the music happening even though it's all audio. Oh, and then that, okay, Akane does one of the coolest fills because it's so restrained. It's not super fast. It's got a lot of room to breathe. It's all quadruplets, 2 times, 2 kick. Super simple, but sounds so good, especially in that moment right there where everything else backs off. It's leading into this next pre-chorus where the drums just, oh my gosh, the way the drums change the rhythm here, that really caught me off guard. Okay, let's hear it. What the heck? It just gets so hyper. It's so different than the first pre-chorus, which in itself was really cool, and I gotta hear it again. Yeah. So the first time, Akane stopped playing to create that space for the other members, but this time around, man, oh boy, does she play. And all the other instruments also change up what they're doing in this part to go more in unison with what Akane's doing here. First time around, she's not even there. Second time around, it's so hyper that if the other instruments were doing what they were doing the first time around, it might have sounded cluttered, might have sounded messy, but they changed what they were doing to really bounce with Akane and create one solid beast of music, one big sound monster that's all moving together. I guess is the only way I can describe it. It would be so easy for that to sound cluttered, but it doesn't, because it's all moving together in unison. That's the key in this part, I think. Okay, second chorus. Oh my gosh! And then another absolutely pro fill right there. Just the dynamic in that drum fill from Akane is just straight up insane. Those really cool ghost notes on the snare in between her tom hits. Right here. Oh, love it. And it's nice that the chorus opens up, gives room to breathe for the rest of the song, because the verse and the pre-chorus are so busy. I can't wait to see what comes after the second chorus though, because that's usually when there's some crazy antics on the instruments. Let's do this. Okay, that part, that was like that power trio. Which song was that from? I think in Don't You Tell Me, that power trio when they played it live, because that wasn't a guitar solo, that was a drum solo, guitar solo. I gotta hear that again. Okay, here we go. Okay, just the note choices here. First of all, both guitars playing off each other. One is doing the other one, the soft, muted, almost clean notes that it's playing on the lower register, they sound super dissonant with everything else. Like, those notes don't belong together, but somehow they work so well because they have such different tone. The higher register is a little harsher, a little more, distorted. The lower register is more muted, not as many high frequencies, and more subdued. But then the drums... And then the vocals behind it, just adding so much excitement, because this is like a giant build-up into the second part of this power trio situation. And in this part, it's like a power trio between the two guitars and the drums. There's a little bass just to support the rest of the band, but... Okay, I need to see that live. I don't know where to find a live version of this where I can see like how they're playing that part live, but I'm so curious. Is that lower guitar bass? Or is it, do Miku and Konami play off each other in that part? I can't tell, because that lower guitar could definitely just be high notes on the bass, because the bass is more subdued in this part. Such a cool composition. I'm really excited to watch the acoustic arrangement though after this. Oh! Another drop note in the start of the chorus. Okay, second time around on that last chorus, they change it up again, adding that little extra unexpected flair, that spice that just keeps the song fresh. Another just little sample of what the guitar solo was, with the drums and guitar playing off of each other like that. And I love that huge, layered, textured mix of the vocals. Like, tons of layers of the vocals, huge stereo pan, and what that adds to the mix is so cool. So many cool parts in this song in just 3 minutes and 18 seconds. That's why BAND-MAID's so cool. Like, they've capitalized on what we've been learning from YouTube and TikTok and everything, that you need to keep things interesting. You got to do something cool every 7 seconds or whatever to keep people watching. But they've applied that to their music, doing something cool, fun, and engaging at every turn. Even if they repeat a part of the song, they do something to freshen it the next time around. Another unexpected ending from BAND-MAID? Okay, and then that goes straight into Blooming, huh? Whew. Alright, Catharsis Acoustic. The big drop from BAND-MAID this past week. So excited for this. I've seen it before, but at that time I didn't know what I was watching. I had never heard the song before. So now with that fresh in my mind, I'm excited to go through this in more depth. Wow, what a different arrangement. They really converted that part to acoustic, because if she would have been playing those notes on acoustic, it would have just been too much. It wouldn't have maintained that acoustic, laid-back, chill feel that you want when you're listening to an acoustic arrangement. Oh yeah. This is the awesome part about an acoustic arrangement, is because when I was listening to the original version, I was like, I think there's harmonies in here, but I couldn't really tell because they're kind of in the background. But here, the vocals are so present, they're so in the forefront. So Miku's beautiful vocals, the harmony there can be clearly heard, and just the beauty behind the composition that got squashed behind other instruments, distortion, compression, all that stuff is now very clear to hear in this. Can really hear Misa's bass slides. It's funny how in the acoustic arrangement, where Akane had just stopped playing in the original version, she was actually playing something to keep the rhythm going. But that's just interesting, because usually an acoustic arrangement means no drums, or you're playing hand drums or something like that. But to add those drums back in for that part to keep the rhythm, it just shows how unique BAND-MAID is. They didn't just play the song's chords on an acoustic and sing along with it. They put that effort into making these arrangements special. It's got a different feel too than the drums. Because the first arrangement, that was more of an EDM buildup. It was do 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 do, and instead it was like a fun, offbeat, almost like disco style buildup there. Oh. Honestly, In the other version, the chorus was my least favorite part of the song because it's more open, it's simple, and I like complex arrangements. But in the context of an acoustic show, this might be one of my favorite parts because it really highlights Psyche's vocals. You know, it's just a different experience, and it changes your perspective. It forces you to change your perspective on the music. Kind of like forced perspective in photography. You take a picture of an ant really close up with like something blurred in the background. It makes the ant look huge, even though it's a tiny creature. It's forced perspective, and that's kind of what making an acoustic arrangement like this can do, is force you to focus on a different part of the song that usually gets overshadowed. Oh. And the bass. Okay, I'm gonna go back, but once again, I had commented on how the bass was more kind of shoved in the background of this song. At least on my first listen, from what I noticed, it wasn't as in the forefront. But once again, in this acoustic arrangement, Misa's kind of driving this verse here, and Konami, who usually is super busy, super engaged, in the original track there were crazy guitars going on during that second verse, but here she's doing more simple strums, letting the instruments that do sound better when they're busy in an acoustic context really shine and be in the forefront. And now here we got Akane coming in with her bouncy groove in the second pre-chorus. Okay, and Akane let the vocals breathe more in that part too than in the original. That drum pattern wasn't nearly as complex as in the original version, but with those beautiful harmonies going on during that pre-chorus, you don't want to clutter them out. So brilliant choice here. She even had less notes in that drum fill, same kind of pattern, same kind of rhythm feel, but less notes just to lend to the acoustic arrangement. What a beautiful set. I really loved the video look of these songs later in the set when the sun was starting to go down and you could actually see outside, see that they're actually in a really beautiful location with water outside. Because earlier in the day, it was just bright white light pouring in from the windows. That's really cool. Harmonies are beautiful. Ooh. Here comes Akane. Psyche. I gotta watch that again just to see what Psyche's doing, because I was distracted with Konami, but Psyche's so funny in this part.
1, 2, 3.
She looks at Miku. Oh. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. The way the bass started walking down chromatically and then the Miku's guitar joined in and it all led back into the end of that solo there. Okay, I gotta hear that whole part again, but first I'm gonna listen to that part again in the original version. Quite a bit faster tempo. These drums are so crazy. Wow, that was an insane 20 seconds of music right there. Just absolute perfection, masterful, masterpiece. Let's hear this again. I love how it maintains the same feel though. Oh, I love that little slide that Konami did there. That so cool. Very jazzy. Oh my gosh, that part's cool. And those licks that Konami was doing, playing from the high strings down, those are so hard to play on an acoustic. Right here. Those are so much harder to play on an acoustic than an electric because the neck, you know, it's just different. The strings are tighter, stiffer, but sounded so cool. Oh! Okay, so that part, how did that part go in the original? Ah, so they changed up that part that was almost like silence. They did some drum and bass stuff there. And she got the chimes in there. Oh yeah. The videographers here really know how to play off of those lights in the back too. The beautiful pans with the light coming in and out because of the girls' heads. I would call it the subject of the frame, but you know, the maids' heads, the way the light plays off of them looks so cool. Like every aspect of the show is amazing, from the roots of it with the arrangements and the performance, the writing and everything, and then going as far as the video production, the aesthetic, everything is so good. Okay, and that part the first time around, wasn't that guitar and drums? Yeah, okay, so that was drums and guitar. This time around, Misa does that nice slide with the drums. Nice! Oh, nice wide shot. Dude, Psyche, oh my gosh. Just such a beautiful performance. I don't know, after this show, how you could not be in love with Psyche. She's so cool. All right, I need to wrap this up because this is going to take me forever to edit. I must have paused like 1,000 times, and I want to get this up today. So I got to wrap this up. Thank you so much to all my patrons. Thank you to all the BAND-MAID fans that help support my channel, and to BAND-MAID themselves that keep putting out great music and not striking us YouTube creators that just want to help promote and get excited about your music. We really appreciate that you're cool with that. And thank you for putting out this little sample of the acoustic version to the public. I hope that it drives more traffic to go watch the replay of the acoustic version. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen this yet and you're a BAND-MAID fan, go catch that replay on their channel. I'll put a link to it below. If I forget, yell at me as soon as possible in the comments, and I'll make sure that link is below to go purchase the access to watch this full concert, because I think it's on their site till March. So I highly recommend it. Please go support them. That's how these bands keep going and how they keep making awesome music. So with that all said, pound the like button, subscribe if you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.